and welcome to the 50th episode of Points of Interest.
Number 50.
The big 50.
Yeah.
Over the podcasting hill.
Yeah, the fuzz. Wait, that's different. 50.
I smell
50th.
bacon.
Number 50.
I'm one of your hosts, Jake, along with my co-host, James, over here. If you're new to the show, this is... Wow. You think after 50 episodes, I would just be able to go with it.
Yeah, exactly.
It has been a bit of a break. This is Inverted Reality's gaming news podcast. Each week we gather news and stories from around the internet and bring them here to you in one nice, easy to consume package. You can get the show on YouTube at youtube.com/invertedreality for the video versions or on your podcast service of choice. The whole thing releases on Friday as one big show, an MP3, video and MP3, and in chunks as videos from Tuesday to Thursday. Now that we've said all that out of order, follow us on Twitter at IR Games. We'll tweet out and tell you what's coming out and in some news usually that we've missed because this is a once a week show.
Yeah, exactly.
So we can't catch everything. And speaking of catch everything, James, what you been playing lately?
You know, I have been pushing the wrong button. There we go. It popped up to like all
Man,
the
take
slides.
2 weeks off and all of a sudden it's like starting over.
I have
at
no
number
idea what
one.
we're doing. I have been playing a lot of Bloodborne lately.
Bloodborne.
And so it's PlayStation Plus title.
Makes me happy to see you catch this Souls game.
If
bug.
you're watching this now and you didn't download this while it's PlayStation Plus, it's too late. It's gone. It's
Sorry,
done.
bro.
It's
It's worth buying if you
I guess if you're
don't have it.
if you're watching this like the minute it releases, you might have like an hour to go get it.
Yeah.
But
Depending on where you're at in a time zone.
yeah, most of the time
If you're watching this in California as it releases, maybe.
you might get it.
Maybe.
But yeah, it's going off on Tuesday, so it was free all month. So I knew going into it that it's a certain kind of game, right? And it takes patience and it takes
You've always
time to get into
actively
it.
avoided these kind of games.
Yeah, I actively avoid it because I don't like losing, and I struggled. Like I put aside, I said I was going to try for I was going to get to 5 hours before I quit. Like no matter what, give it 5 hours, and then if I still don't enjoy it, then great. And it took a couple nights. If you played Bloodborne, there's a section in the beginning. You get up the ladder and you get to like your first lamp after you get outside the clinic and stop dying. But you get to the Central Yharnam lamp and you talk to Gillard,
Sure.
whatever. There's a guy.
You've been reading more about this game than I have.
That's true. I have. But so then you start into Central Yharnam and you go down some stairs and you die a bunch, and then you go down an alley and then you die a bunch, and then there's a bonfire with more enemies than you've ever seen in your whole game so far. And I spent like 3 nights there, I think. I would get past like 1 every 10 tries because I was still in the mindset of you have to kill every enemy every time. Like, you can't leave them alive. You can't do that.
All of them got to be dead.
Right. And part of the reason is at the beginning you're still learning the combat and you're still trying to figure it out, and it's good practice because this is a really hard start to the game. They start you hard
And just keeps getting harder.
just to reinforce it, and then there's hard parts in the rest of the game, but it kind of tailors down because you push through it. So it took me a while. Like there were if you played right before the cleric beast, there's like 2 werewolves on top of you go through all these things, you go up the steps, you get there, and then you just immediately die, and there's no save points. So you start all the way back at the
you
beginning.
go back to the lamp and you don't have any of your blood echoes.
Yep. So then you
Which is
got
how you level up.
You got to get all the way back there and get those, and then maybe defeat them. And it took me 2 or 3 nights to just get past those werewolves. But the problem is they don't despawn. Like they were back the next game.
There's no permadeath.
Yeah. So thankfully, when you get past those, you can unlock a shortcut, and you can skip all of the bonfire and everything.
That's one of the things that's different in Bloodborne versus Dark Souls. Is Dark Souls where you die, your souls just drop on the floor. Where in Bloodborne, maybe they drop on the floor.
Right.
Maybe they're imported into another enemy.
Okay.
And you can tell because they have the glowing eyes. So sometimes you walk up and you see them on the floor. That's Dark Souls. Sometimes you walk up in their eyes. That's purely a Bloodborne thing.
Interesting.
Which is
that's
a cool mechanic when it gets locked into an easy to beat.
Yeah,
enemy.
it's cool at times, but the problem is when they drop it in. It does seem random because sometimes it'll be an enemy that was already dead when you died. I had that happen just today.
Sometimes it's an enemy that's not even near where you died.
But so I pushed through it. I got to the first shortcut, and I took on the cleric beast. I got him the second try I had. I know some people get stuck on him. I didn't. I just stayed under his feet. I kept dodging into him. And then I just hacked and slashed away. And I was panic hacking, right? Because I'm still really early on. So I was just panicking with my saw cleaver, just R1, R1,
got him,
R1.
got him. And then he goes to hit you. And you're like out of stamina. You're like, oh no.
So you hit him and you just sit there and you wait. And you're just like... and your heart's going crazy. But it was awesome. That sold me on it. And we were on party chat the first night that that I beat it. Well, we were on it.
We've been on it
each
several
time.
times.
And so you had moved, you got past Cleric Beast a little bit quicker than I did. I got stuck on that bonfire all the time. I just got stuck on it. But once I got past that, I pushed through it and got past the Cleric Beast. I was hooked. Started exploring the rest of it. I had to farm for some blood echoes and farm for some blood vials and quicksilver bullets because I kept dying. And then I didn't realize how elevators worked. Like I had found the top of it, and at some point because I got to the top of the first elevator you get to, and it I don't really know how to describe it. It was before you get to Father G, and so I went to pull it, and it's like, oh, it's not operational. So I'm like, okay, I can't use this. There must be a way to unlock this later. So I work my way down. I get to this huge bridge, and you cross the bridge, and you have a boulder rolling at you, and there's enemy and stuff. Well, eventually I die. Right. And so I come back in the elevator. Like I didn't even try the elevator because I had done nothing to unlock it. I didn't realize all you had to do was go in the area that elevator
Step on
sits,
the button.
and then it becomes unlockable on both sides. Like you don't have to do anything. It's just once you get to that area, now you can go up top. Well, I didn't know that. So I did like 15 or 20 runs all the way around, like down through the sewers, and it just...
Because you kept coming up on the back end of it.
Yeah.
Because we had this conversation. You're like, oh yeah, I came up... Like you kept mentioning the pig, and I was like, "Why are you going anywhere near the? Like you shouldn't have to."
Yeah, the pig, and so the pig charges out, and if you take down the pig, you can get behind him. And there's a way that comes up, and you don't have to deal with like 7 or 8 different enemies. And it was awesome.
Yeah.
Half the time, one of the big guys would explode, and you just get to take him out there. But I was skipping that part, the one part where the elevator was, and for like that was like 2 nights. Like I wasn't even getting to Father G because it took me so long to get there. I was like, this is ridiculous. Like this seems just stupid.
Yeah.
And then you're like, why don't you take the elevator? I'm like, what elevator?
I had made the same mistake.
And so he walked me through it, and I got there, and I was like, oh, this elevator didn't work. You were like, just pull the handle. And I pulled it. I'm like,
you to like walk in.
it didn't work like that before.
The elevator was at the top already.
Right, it was.
And so like
now.
if you've never played this kind of game before, the elevators just have a big square button in the middle that before you can pull the lever's to call it back to where you're at.
Right.
So if it's at the top already and you go to pull the lever, it says this lever's operational right now. So you just got to walk into the elevator. I had done the opposite thing where I'd gone around a couple times and I was like, oh, sweet, an elevator. And like I pulled the lever and it came down to me and I popped up and I was like, what? Are you kidding? I could have been using this the whole time? But I'd only gone like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, that was probably my breaking point. I was like, then I started getting to Father G consistently, but it was so annoying because I would die really quickly because he's hard, and then I would spend 10 minutes getting back to him, and I was like, this is stupid. Like, I don't know how much more, like that was where I was starting to break.
Can't handle this.
And then you showed me the elevator, and it still took me a little bit. Father G was hard, but not as hard as some of the other ones I've seen since then. You just kind of got to figure that out.
It's funny walking through it, like, because we're not jumping into each other's games. We're playing this, like, I was playing it for a little while too, but I've taken a break from it to move on to other stuff. But it was, I was like, all right, where are you at in the lamp? And we both got to the lamp, and we were just walking through it at the same time.
Yeah, we're going through Old Yarnum.
We did it another section too. I was like, all right. That's how I walked you through the first time.
Right,
I had to go
with the
back,
lamp.
and I had to run, like, through the thing. I'm like, all right, he's at...
Yeah.
Okay, so you need to turn left and then go right down the stairs.
Yeah, it turns out
But
there
the
was a
old Yarnum
section in Old
hilarious.
Yarnum where I was, because there's a guy with a Gatling gun if you haven't been there. If you haven't played the game and you don't know this, there's no spoilers. It's 3 years old. Get over it.
It's also, there's no story in Bloodborne, and the enemies are all hard.
It's all just lore that
Gotcha.
you read and understand, and it's interesting. But it just, I was taking like a platforming style jump. Like I was jumping down into like a pit where there was a bunch of birds and then immediately getting shot by a Gatling gun.
You just like found a way
And I
that I would
thought
never have found.
I thought that was the way. Like it seemed like not super obvious, but like it got me to where I was going. It made the entrance like a little bit more difficult.
took me so long to figure out.
Because I couldn't describe
Yeah, I jumped
what I
off
was
the platform.
doing.
I'm like, where'd you jump off? I don't see a wall that you could even get over.
Yeah, it was a pain. And so then he showed me the real way, and I died a few times to that because of the exploding barrels and stuff. And it was very much difficult in a totally different way. But it's awesome. So I'm way past that now. I actually went back to Central Yarnum the other day. I'm like level 69 right now. So I went back to Central Yarnum and just like walked through that alley and just like slashed everybody like one shot. It was
So you want to go back because like
fulfilling
at
let me tell
Central
you.
Yarnum, there was you turn right and go to the bonfire. But if you turn left, I don't know if you ever did that or if you didn't because I said don't. But like you turn left and then hook another left down at the end of the street. There's one of the big dudes that hold the blade.
Oh yeah.
He's there.
Oh yeah.
And so I had found him a couple times, and after I had gotten past Father G, I think I came back. I was like, I bet I can beat him now. No.
Yeah,
Not
you
good.
end up seeing those guys a lot later, especially when you're on your way to Witches of Hemwick. You see those guys quite a bit there. And I actually came back one time and I forgot about them. So I was going back to, after I finished, this is 8 or 10 bosses later, I came back to Central Yarnum to look for something like a rune. And I went down the ladder and I forgot about it because I'd seen him before and avoided him. I went in and I two-shot him because that's the beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome because he dropped his guard and slash, and then he was dead. I was like, that's a good feeling.
That's
So,
how you know you're
so
here.
it's good. I think I'm going to go for the platinum, which I don't often do because the platinum, I don't want to say it's not difficult, but it's more just time consuming. Because it's mostly just bosses and get to all the areas and then have all the endings. Problem is there's 3 endings, so you got to play the game 3 times.
Yep.
I feel like I'm not going to have a problem doing that. We will see. I think what I'm going to do is I'm getting ready to go through the DLC. Then when I finish the game, I'll do New Game Plus, and then I'll start a new character for my 3rd playthrough, so that way I can try out a different build and use a couple different weapons and do things a little differently. But boy, just the amount of different things you can do in the game, and just chalice dungeons and root chalice dungeons and just all the different optional areas. There's so many areas that I go on to the forums every once in a while. I'll look at stuff on Reddit and they'll mention these areas. Somebody will be like, I've never heard of that area. And I played the game. I have 300 hours in this game. They're like, oh yeah, well you have to do these 75 different steps.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, and then you go do it and you're like, that's really
there's
cool.
just those areas that you never needed to really run across. You could have, I feel like you could play this game, never walk into Old Yarnum. It's a dead end.
Yeah, the only thing you get back there...
Blood-starved beasts is in there.
Yeah, there's something you get from the Blood-starved beast, but you don't need it. It's optional.
Exactly. It's
All
one of those
of
things
Old Yarnum's
you run to the end and you beat it, you're like, sweet, and you run to the back of the dungeon and there's no door. And it's at that moment you realize this was a 100% optional thing that I just did.
Yeah.
But I didn't know.
There are some things that it unlocks, there's some runes you get, and there's something else that actually happens with Blood-starved beast, but there's more later. There's the Witches of Hemwick are actually optional as well. There's a kind of important tool you need that you get from them that okay, that's important, but it's not you don't have to beat them to beat the game.
Yeah.
There's one that I just faced at the end of Nightmare Frontier. It's that's optional too. There's really nothing back there. You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
So, and there's another one I just unlocked called Canehurst Castle where I just got obliterated. I walked in and I opened the door and it's actually a much different environment. It looks really cool. I don't want to spoil it for you, but I walked in, saw this enemy I'd never seen before, and it was gross, like most things in this game. And it just, none of my dodges worked. It hit me 115 times and just face rolled me. I spawned at the lamp. My blood echoes are at the lamp, and I died before I could get the blood echoes that are sitting next to the lamp. It was stupid. I was like, all right, I guess I'm not ready for this. I'm gonna leave now, because they don't pop up with level recommendations. They don't say what your weapon should be at. They just let you go wherever you
walk
want.
through this whole game at level 10 or whatever you start at.
Oh yeah,
if you want to.
There's one there's a challenging playthrough where they actually have you stay at blood level 4, because there's one of you pick a different, a troubled past or your archetype of your character.
Yeah.
There's one you can pick that starts you at blood level 4, and there's an actual challenge run where you don't level up.
Yeah.
You just level up your weapons and buy stuff. You just completely ignore your vitality and endurance and strength and skill and all
No
that.
thanks.
I'm
good.
That doesn't sound fun at all. I know how much little health I had, and so yeah, it's
Why you do this?
why do why?
Come back, camera.
There it goes. So I enjoy
It's
it.
just a random thing.
It is random. Last time it was at the 30
Last time it was at 30 minutes.
Anyways, so I'm loving it. I'm obsessed. I can't get enough of it. When I haven't been playing that, though, because there are times in the day where it's hard for me to play, late at night, if you're not on and I don't have anybody to talk to, I don't really want to boot up Bloodborne at 10:30.
Because you never know when Father G is going to come busting through your
it's not really
door at the porch.
It's not really scary. It's just it's creepy.
Yeah.
And it sticks with you. I can't just shut it off and
It
then
keeps
go
you on
immediately to bed. There's some deliberate oh hey, I'm a jerk, here's a jump scare. There are plenty of those. And
Wolf came through the door.
Oh my gosh. There's this area at the back
Both of us
Old
were just
Yarnum.
God, what was that?
Because I got to it a bit before you did, and because you're what happened? I'm I can't say. I cannot say. And then I just heard you walking through it. I was like, hey, where are you at? And you're like, oh, I just saw this wolf. I saw 2 wolves and I just ran past them. I'm coming across this bridge now. I was like, oh, do you see a door? He's like, yeah, I do see it. I'm going to go check that out. And then he'd like his mic just like pixelated in my ears. It was amazing. There are more moments like that. It happens all the time. But there's some really creepy environments. And it's just, they do such a good job. I've been really impressed with it. The level design of Bloodborne's really cool and stuff, but I can't always play this game at night. Like it's difficult for me. So when I haven't been doing that, I decided to go nice and light and go Far Cry 4.
Yeah.
So
nice, fun family video game.
Yeah, very family friendly. So Far Cry 4 is a little bit older. The reason I picked it up is because we knew 5 was coming out soon, and you had a copy of 4. You really enjoyed it, and I've never played it, and it kind of seems like a game I would like. So you lent me your copy, and I've been going through. I'm about halfway through. I've taken down a couple outposts, or a couple fortresses. I've taken down over half of the outposts and bell towers and stuff, and it's really interesting. Like it's fun. It's a good time waster. You know, you don't really have to worry about the story so much. Evil dictator, you're a rebel with a cause, and you just liberate things. So it's cool. There's some qualms. I don't really love some of the hunting aspects. They seem a little bit too ingrained into the game, which I think is kind of a common complaint with it. There's just a little bit too much relying on chance when it comes to finding the right animals to get the right upgrades for the things you need. So there's a few things like that, but it's a really the first person shooting feels really good. I don't really know why it feels better than other things, because you feel like the weight of the gun, but you don't feel heavy. But there are penalties for getting shot. Like you get shot any number of times, like it's hard to recover. Like you got to stop what you're doing, you got to heal, so you have to play it carefully. And so I've been trying to be stealth, which is not really my strong suit, trying to take outposts undetected and things like that. And there was one I posted on my personal Facebook, but I had to kill this guy without being detected. Well, the problem was there was like 5 guys around him, and every time I kept taking them out one by one with a crossbow, well, one of them would find the other, and then I would just...
That counts as detection.
Yeah, exactly. So it was difficult for me. So I got one of them down, and then I was able to... I don't remember how I distracted them, but I ended up getting all 5 of them congregating to the dead guy's area, which didn't happen every single playthrough. And so I thought, well, I could probably avoid detection if I killed them all at once. So I pulled out my RPG and just shot them all, and they all died. Boom. It was undetected. And so then I walked down there and I took the body and I hid it, because you get a bonus for hiding the body. But it's a fun game. Like, it's forcing me to play stealth a little bit more.
Oh, now I remember what you're talking about. Like, you have to kill specific guys within the compound without being detected.
Right, exactly.
I would always run in there and I would run in and do it.
Yeah.
Or I would kill him last.
Right. That's usually what I would do. I'd grab all his soldiers, then I could just get him however. It didn't work out that way. But RPG was my mode of stealth. It was pretty wonderful.
I watched that clip and I was like, I was actually like being stealthy. That's so great. And then all of a sudden I saw a rocket pop into frame and I was like, all right, never mind.
Yeah, it was a pretty good time. So that was me. That's what I've been doing. Bloodborne and a little bit of Far Cry 4. What have you been?
We went 20 minutes on Bloodborne and 3 on Far Cry 4.
Well, I've been playing one a bit more than the other.
No, it's just funny looking down and seeing the time. Whew, boy.
Yeah.
But I've been trudging through the woods of Hope County, Montana, playing Far Cry 5.
If you couldn't tell by the picture here, or you listen to the audio version. So it came out last week. So it's been out for about a week, right? By the time you guys are watching this, almost a week.
Something like that.
Came out last Friday.
March 27th, I believe it came out.
Oh yeah, it was Tuesday. My bad, Tuesday. Yep. So it's been out a week. And what do you think? You didn't pick it up right on Tuesday. You waited for some reviews.
I read some reviews like you should.
Yep.
And if this counts as your review, then
great.
More power to you.
Do it.
But I dig it. It's more Far Cry.
Yeah.
You can see influences from some other Ubisoft games like Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Now, did you play, because Far Cry 4, and then we had Far Cry Primal. Did you play Primal?
I dabbled in Primal for a couple of hours. Okay. My brother-in-law had it, and so I played, and it is basically just Far Cry 4. It's even the same map. So
right.
It's Far Cry 4 without guns.
Gotcha.
Is what it is. So it plays the same. It feels the same. You're hunting. Mm-hmm. It's all the same. So some things in Far Cry 5 like that you actually just touched on that are different is you heal just over time automatically without having to use medkits or anything.
I like that.
So as like if you jump from too high or accidentally blow up something next to yourself or your car wrecks, if you get out and just run from combat a little bit, you'll just heal back up. Now you can use medkits in like emergency situations to start healing immediately, but there's a just auto healing now, which is great.
I do like that. I'm
So,
a little bit annoyed sometimes.
You don't have to use medkits if you're hunting a dangerous animal.
It's not just healing up chunks. It's actually like the whole bar.
Yeah, it's just a whole bar.
Okay.
And you can upgrade the bar
Right.
with experience, with perk points you get from doing missions inside each specific area. So there's 3 areas that are controlled by 3 different members of the Seed family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these 3, not this guy. This guy doesn't control an area. Joseph Seed doesn't control an area. And then Faith, Jacob, and John, I believe are their names, control 3 areas.
That sounds right.
You do things in their areas and just get perk points for helping out the resistance, and like you get perk points or resistance points for breaking cult property.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, like steal a truck and wreck it.
That's awesome.
It's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
But it's really fun. The shooting's still really fun. I feel like they made hunting dangerous animals much harder.
Yeah.
Like it takes like a magazine and a half to kill a bear.
Ooh, that's scary.
Like, and when you shoot it enough, like it turns tail and runs away from you. But I have a mission right now that's get 1 undamaged black bear pelt. And you get undamaged pelts by killing them with arrows.
Oh,
like,
you can't even like shoot it?
I don't think so.
Jeez.
For whatever reason, bullets damage pelts, but arrows don't.
I know that in Far Cry 4, explosions damage pelts.
Yeah, so we'll see. I haven't tried it yet. Black bears don't have... You run across hunting areas. So you see signs posted that have like an animal inside a hunting
so it's
area.
not just everywhere.
No, yeah. But, so like grizzly bears have an area, but black bears don't.
Oh.
Kill like a... whatever, like pronghorn, and when it dies, it decaying or whatever will attract black bears.
Interesting.
And so then you can get a black bear. With
That's a little
all
more
that I had to look
detailed.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, where the heck do I get a black bear?
Yeah.
But the helicopter's cool. I got the gold, whatever, the gold edition, I think it was.
Yeah.
The expensive one. I had a 20% off thing for...
Yeah. This comes
PS
with
Plus.
the deluxe edition and the...
Yeah, I have the season pass, and I'll get Far Cry 3 with it when that comes out.
And the 3 DLCs.
Yeah, the 3 DLCs. So it came with some digital goodies, some of them being guns, one of them being a helicopter,
Right.
which is awesome.
Seems normal.
Yeah. But it's an attack helicopter, so it has like a machine gun and missiles and flares.
Wow.
And you just get to start with it.
You just have it.
You just
Okay.
have it.
That
And
seems
so
excessive.
You can hop in it. Well, the thing is, like, the ammo is limited inside of there.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you like shoot it all, you have to pay to. You can pay to refill it right there,
Okay.
or you can just land it and go back to where you
Nice.
get it and just respawn another one and then fly out.
Okay.
But it's really cool. I dig it.
I know
there have-
there's... No, go ahead.
I think you're about to touch on what I'm about to touch on.
You go for it then.
So there have been some comments that there's so much to do, and you feel like you're being constantly chased and attacked.
Right. And it is that way?
And
or?
it very much, I feel like it's that way.
Okay.
So I am digging the story. There were a lot of reviews say the story's really weak, and I can see how it would be perceived as pretty weak.
Okay. It's a nice way
But
to put
I
it.
mean, on the same token, like you and I are also a lot more easily entertaining is not the right word I'm going for, but a lot more easy to please when it comes to video game stories.
Yes, very true.
And so I'm still having a good time
It's
with it.
holding your attention.
Yeah, it's easy for me to suspend my disbelief with playing this game.
Okay.
So,
Good enough.
but it is like as you're driving down the road, you can go 200 yards before you see another guy driving the opposite way that's going to turn around and try and shoot you.
Ugh.
And so
So it's a little bit too much.
it is kind
You
of
think?
too much.
Okay.
Like, and you will constantly pass hostages, like seriously all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just kind of how it is.
Like karma event type things that like from
Pretty
Far Cry
much.
4?
Except for
Okay.
you just get reputation points.
Right.
So it can be as easy as like you'll see them standing there every now and then. They take off running as you pull up, and so you just run them over. Just doof.
Yeah.
One thing.
One thing.
I don't know if this was like this in 4, and I don't remember. It's been a while since I played it. But I was doing this mission where we were essentially like defending a wall, and the cultists could get up on the wall, and they have these certain ones that take this drug, and they're called angels. So they're essentially just like crazy melee enemies. And so they run up on the wall, they're chasing at you. So as you turn, like you're on the wall with your NPC buddies.
Mm-hmm.
And so as you turn, I'm shooting at one, and I missed, and I hit a buddy, and all my buddies turned on me and killed me.
Whoa, no. I mean, you can. I shoot NPCs all the time in Far Cry.
Yeah,
because
no.
I'm not very good, but they never turn on me.
Yeah, these ones will go down, and they'll ask for help. So you have to like pick them up.
Oh.
And
Okay.
so I turned, and I just missed. Like I was just shooting a bunch of bullets, and I missed, and I pegged one, and like that one started shooting me, and the one behind me started shooting me, and the one behind
Wow.
him started shooting me, and I was like, all right, this is too much. So
Jeez.
and later through the playthroughs, I just learned I was like, all right, let them die, and then I'll keep going about my business because they can't shoot me when they're down.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't like that mechanic because in the chaos of that moment, I'm not checking. Like, this isn't real life. I'm not
Yeah.
checking my backdrop for when I'm shooting.
Give me some leeway
Like,
here.
I'm just shooting at the bad guys that are coming at me.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of a thing in being chased. Like, when you do enough events in a certain person's area, they will send hunters after you. And so right now I'm pretty much constantly being chased by a plane that I don't know how to take down without going to get my helicopter.
Yeah.
Which, in fairness, I haven't tried yet. So
No, that's fair.
beggars can't be choosers, I suppose.
But still.
Like, I've died and done a couple missions, and every now and then you just hear target in sight. Like, oh, with the stupid plane, seriously?
Yeah.
But-
Well, I mean, that's kind of the common comments, but outside of that, it seems to be pretty
Yeah,
solid.
overall, it's still Far Cry. It's still fun. I'm still enjoying it. It's dumb. It's a dumb fun shooter.
Yeah.
Is what it is. It's
exactly.
got better open world mechanics than any shooter and better shooting mechanics than any open world game. So
There you go. Yeah, I'm going to pick it up. I might wait. It's not like going to jump into my play right now because I've got Bloodborne, got Far Cry 4, and then I've got God of War coming out in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Which will be on my PS4 Pro, which I'm super stoked about. So once I get past those, I'm probably going to try and pick up the gold edition like on a discount or something. I'm hoping that they patch like I feel like Far Cry 4 is almost a little bit busy sometimes.
yeah. Like Far Cry
so 5 is a little bit worse.
Far Cry 4 was almost the right amount of busy
Yeah.
because like if you're kind of just running through, you'll run into people. But if you kind of hear gunshots or like you get the little notification marker, it pops up. You're like, I'm just gonna turn and go away for a second.
Right.
And they'll be gone. They'll leave me alone.
Yeah, it's not too hard to get out of it. So I think that I'm hoping that maybe they'll make some adjustments and have a patch come out for it.
Yeah.
I've got a couple months, so I'm going to pick it up. I want to play it now. Like I want to do it with you. I want to have some like co-op stuff. I think that'd be fun.
Oh, it's pretty dope.
But
The arcade's awesome.
yeah, I want to check all that stuff out at the same time. I can't do that and these. And we need to get back to Halo 5 at some point. And there's Gears stuff to play. So we got all this stuff.
We have a lot of games to play.
We got a lot of stuff. We've been making some progress.
Oh, what
but-
a terrible thing we have is too many games to play.
Oh my goodness.
No.
All right, so what's new this week? Next segment here. What do we got?
Ta-da! Yeah. Graphic.
Nothing.
Yeah, pretty much nothing really of note. There's some cool names of games.
Cool names,
So-
yes. Most people, it seems like most people wanted to get out of the way.
You seem like
Far
they,
Cry
yeah,
5.
they'd stay away from Far Cry.
This is
only
really
comes
not
out
a good
every
window.
few
You've
years.
got this. You've got God of War coming up in a couple weeks, and then you've got Detroit Become Human
When's Red Dead coming out?
a month later. That's like September, October.
September, that's
But so we've got
all these AAA games are taking up the entire year now.
Yeah, it's tough because you just when are you gonna drop your game?
Yeah,
So-
pretty much. But Tuesday, April 3rd, Crisis on the Planet of the Apes VR. So PS4 and PC. So if you're looking for a Planet of the Apes VR game, I don't know anything about it. I didn't look up anything for it. I don't know if it's like how in line it runs with the recent Planet of the Apes movies.
I would assume not.
I would assume none.
Yeah.
But
It's interesting. It is cool to start to see virtual reality games releasing the same time, PS4 and
Yeah.
PC. A lot of times the platforms are just different, even just between like Vive and Oculus.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see like here it is for VR in like all these different platforms. So it's nice to see. It's seeing it as like a separate gaming
if you're
industry.
interested in VR, we have an episode of Boss Fight over on Second Invite. You should check it out. Next up,
This looks awful. This one.
Epic Dumpster Bear, Dumpster Fire Redux.
So we looked at a trailer from 2016
It's
when it
so
came out.
dumb.
It was on the Wii U shop. Like it looked like just for Nintendo.
Wii Shop. Yep.
So it's on PS4 now. It looks so bad. Like it says that it's like a throwback to the 16-bit gameplay. It just looks terrible.
It's not good.
So bad.
It
We're
looks funny.
we're talking
if it was
about, like,
free,
that
it'd be fun to play.
the Black Tiger, Life of the Black Tiger or something. You remember some of
Yeah.
those real? It looks kind of like that. So
Well, I mean, not really. It's not attempting to be 3D.
that's true. It at least is acknowledging that it's a 2D
Yep.
platformer.
True. Next up, Skyrim VR on PC. So,
Yeah.
you want to play Skyrim on PC instead of on PS4? Then there you go.
It's good.
Nailed it.
Good on you.
Way to go. Proud of you. Thursday, April 5th. Nintendo Day. Sort of.
Nintendo.
2064 read-only memories integral for the Switch.
And integral is all caps for some reason.
Yeah, that's how it was in the press release, and that's how it was when I wrote it down. I don't know why, but I heard good things about the game. I didn't look up anything about it. I assume it's a like visual novel.
It sounds
think-
like it might be, yeah.
So, Bunny Must Die, Chelsea and the Seven Devils for PS4 and Vita.
Yeah,
Apparently they have
I
not
didn't
gotten the
know
memo.
anyone was still playing Vita. So
They're not.
I guess not.
You know who plays Vita? People that play Persona 4 Golden. That's who plays Vita. Nobody's playing anything new on Vita.
Very true.
Sorry about it. And also, not a game, but a piece of hardware to play games on, the HTC Vive Pro.
I think it's approximately $65,000. Is it close?
Isn't it?
I think it's $800.
Yeah, so it's at the regional price point of the HTC
Yeah, it's
Vive.
the original Vive price. They dropped the Vive down to $499, I think, with everything you need.
PSVR's got a big price drop too, didn't it?
Yeah, it came down on sale for like a month down to $299 in some packages, and now it's just $299 or $349. So it came down. If you haven't played VR and you don't have a way to test it, which most people don't, sadly, I just don't get it. People aren't capitalizing on it. It's VR. The only way you're going to buy it is if you've played it. Set up demos in your store. I would buy it. I would not get the PS4 Pro and get the VR if I could be playing it right now in a test store.
I mean, they were almost. Even for a minute there, like the Samsung Gear VR was out for testing. Like you could pick it up, put it on. That was the first VR I ever did. Like I picked it up, the Samsung Gear, put it on, and it's just VR experiences. You're not playing games,
but it's still really
you're
cool.
Just like looking around, you're like, oh, this is freaking cool. I'm in like the ocean.
Yeah.
And then we did the PSVR thing, which
was really cool.
Second invite. Check it out. I'm gonna keep shamelessly plugging it until you do.
That's fair.
Like, comment, subscribe, bruh. Bruh. Moving on. Rare has ditched plans to implement a penalty upon dying in Sea of Thieves. Rare has ditched plans to make Sea of Thieves a playable game.
That's
sorry.
That's what it should say.
Speaking of Sea of Thieves.
No.
All right. Last week, Rare mentioned the idea in a blog post filled with upcoming features headed to the game, but it drew questions and ire from fans. Rare later said the feature would not penalize players killed by other players, before now saying it had dropped the idea completely. Sea of Thieves exec producer Joe, I'm going to call him Neat, Neate, so do what you will.
Niate.
Says, quote, one piece of additional feedback we've seen is around a proposed change listed in our release notes last week. And we've heard sentiment there, so I can confirm that death cost is, well, dead. Thanks for the feedback here. We're listening, end quote. So props to them for like listening, but stick to your guns a little bit, as it were. Like,
it's annoying.
I don't know. I guess on some level, I get it. If it was legit an outcry from the fans, people that are playing the game of like, hey, we don't want this.
Right.
I'm sure Rare is seeing the EA Star Wars Battlefront 2 where they've been backpedaling for months on decisions that fans are like, hey, don't do this. We don't want this. And they go,
took them quite a while to do it.
We're Big Brother got punched in the face. We know when to duck. So we're ducking this one and calling it good. People are playing it. People are enjoying it. And maybe they're listening to fans that also say, hey, we want more to do in the game.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows? I'm sure that's harder to implement. I saw an article that there's like a full game-sized patch coming out.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's huge.
We'll see. I'll believe when I see it. We did a review over on Second Invite. The game is hot garbage. Like, there are good aspects to it. We're not going to rehash it all here. But there's no reason to play. There's no sense of progression. There's nothing keeping you come back because it's all fetch quests. It's just not fun. And so I was looking through their launch status update. They had to turn off achievements for like a week.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Like, they just achievements off. They turned them back on finally.
Yeah.
But that's how bad things were. They couldn't even turn on achievements in the game, which are stupid, pointless riddles that don't tell you what to do anyways.
I know. Like, there's enough riddles in the game that are just, they're not hard, but it's tedious and time consuming, as it kind of should be with the maps that have jokes on them, like joke riddles. Then they made the achievements like the same weird piratey rhyming riddles. Dr. Seuss wrote this achievement book in pirate.
Annoying. They have characters losing details such as hair color and scars. Also, don't forget you can't customize your character other than adding a couple facial features.
A few preset
that aren't even working. But don't worry, maybe like mid next week we'll get it working.
Yeah.
And then some players can't equip a second weapon. Player rewards are being delayed. That's not as bad. Having difficulty getting into the game.
If I had to choose between those two, I'd rather have my player reward so I can keep playing the game than be able to color my hair.
Oh my gosh. It's ridiculous. It's almost like they didn't do stress testing, which they did, like 7 of them. But it's okay. Don't worry about facts, James.
It doesn't make sense.
It is.
Like,
it's
why
annoying.
this game?
I I don't know.
Like, it doesn't make sense why it succeeds. I guess, like, if people are having fun with it. Like I told you, I've watched Achievement Hunter play through this, and it is hilarious to watch them play.
Yeah.
It's like, they just got 4 guys. They're doing pirate accents. They're making their own story up as they go.
Yeah.
Like, they all pick, like, made up stupid pirate names for themselves.
Oh yeah.
And they call each other by those names, and it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
But sure, it's funny to watch
For a bit.
for the two of us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny to watch. I mean, I've watched them play. I'm through 3 1-hour episodes at this point,
Mm-hmm.
but that's edited content.
You're right.
Like, when you and I sit down and play for an hour, it's like,
It's 85% of waiting for the boat to get where we're going.
neat.
Yeah, it's just not for us. So maybe they will make some changes. They really haven't specified what they're bringing to the game. Like they've got some wish lists. It kind of seems like they launched it and then didn't really have any follow-up plans right away.
Yeah.
Now they're kind of scrambling. So I don't know if you guys have played Sea of Thieves and you feel differently, let us know.
I wonder,
but-
because we talked about over on the other show, like the developer commenting and being like, yeah, this game was really different
Mhm.
a year ago.
Yeah, one
when
of
we
the
were building it
like,
in
former
Unity.
developers from the game.
Yeah. And I was listening to another podcast talking about why everyone hates Sea of Thieves.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, it runs in the same engine that PUBG runs. It runs in an engine that supports 100 people per instance, and they're doing 6.
Yeah.
Like,
So at
I don't
most
understand.
you're going to have 24 people in the game.
Yeah. And so, like, I wonder if there was a change that came down from on high. Hello, all. That they were like, hey, we want more of this kind of feel. And they're like, well, here's what we have right now. And they're like, no, not that. Simplify it. We need it next year.
Right.
Go. And they're like, whoa. Okay.
Yep.
Like, I want to give benefit of the doubt. And
It just feels
so they can't
it
come out and
feels
be like,
unfinished.
yeah, they can't come out and say, like, it's not our fault. Microsoft said X, Y, and Z, because then Microsoft stopped sending the checks every month.
Mhm.
Like, they have to be like, yep, we're working on it. It's going to be great. And Xbox fans are wanting something to play.
Yep. This
So-
was the exclusive and not been great.
Ew.
But staying on the Sea of Thieves topic,
Potentially.
getting away from how crappy the game is, they set off a firestorm controversy last week after Sea of Thieves streamer Robert Prodigy X it made Pirate Legend. And what do you make? What's Pirate Legend, Jake? It's
Pirate Legend is reaching level 50 with all 3 vendors.
boy,
And
that
then
sounds really grindy.
getting to, you reach level 50 and then you find a mysterious person in the tavern, and then they give you a mission to go somewhere else.
So you
They
get
give you a legendary pirate.
you start
fetch
getting
quest.
legendary fetch quests, legendary things going on. Unfortunately, it looks like his playthrough may not be
It
all
looks,
that honest. In other words, busted.
It looks a little skeezy from on top. Look at you.
Look at me.
Didn't we use that graphic for something else a couple weeks ago?
It had different words on it, but yeah.
Oh, that's right. All right. So, in a quote, in an interview with Polygon, Prodigy X, I keep on calling him Prodigy 1X. I don't know.
Yeah, because
His name
the
is spelled
eye
with
is
the
the
one.
one. It's weird.
Yep. Said every game, there's always going to be the positive and the negative. Sea of Thieves definitely has it, but on my side, we keep positive 100%. We don't bash the game. We don't talk shit on other streamers, end quote.
Mhm.
So from the interview, it kind of seemed like this dude's getting a lot of hate.
Yeah.
And maybe rightfully so,
Partially deserved.
because how he got to level 50.
Mhm.
So he got pretty high up in his other ranks, and he started gaining quite the Twitch following.
Mhm.
And so his Twitch followers were like, hey, we want to like hop in and like interact with the streamer and also help him out getting there.
Right.
So they would essentially just let him into the game. They're like, hey, come join our game. We're going to finish a couple quests. So he could hop in, join their game, get credit for the quests they finished,
Yeah.
and boost his level a little bit.
Mhm.
And so that, do that long enough over
Yeah.
thousands of people following you,
You can imagine how people would feel about that
it
too.
boosts your level quite a bit. So
And the big problem is that as Reddit kind of grabbed a hold of it, if you guys have ever been on Reddit, you can understand how the
Reddit.
hive mind works.
the salt pile.
But they kind of jumped in at the tail end of it as it was starting to get popular and he was starting to come up the ranks. He's been on Twitch for a while. He's actually built his community over the
Yeah.
last 8 years. But it started to gain attention, and the last part of his run, he actually was AFK for a bit while they were turning in quests. He had to step away for a bit, and that was the part of the stream that was some of the highest stuff that they had seen on his stream. So they came in and saw this and just jumped to the conclusion that he'd been doing this the whole game, and that's how he got there. Somebody went in and did some calculations, and so they only boosted just under 22% of the game, which isn't great, but it's not like he was going 1 to 50 the whole way boosting. He put in a large amount of time.
He did
on his own doing it.
A majority of the work himself. I'm trying to understand this quote. If he says he was actually AFK, or if he says people were judging him that he was AFK.
I think he was saying that
like they thought I went from 1 to 50 and got free loot. I was AFK, and they were just judging that.
Yeah, I think there was just a portion of one of his streams that he was AFK for a little bit while people were turning stuff in the party he was in.
Yeah.
I don't think he was saying he was AFK a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Like I said,
he didn't just like mindlessly hop in and just like sit there and be like, all right, guys, go do your thing.
Yeah, it was, like I said, just under 22%.
Yeah.
Really not a good look. And I think that there's maybe some kind of issue with that. I think maybe Rare would want to take a look, and an easy system, if you weren't there to start the quest, maybe you don't get the rewards for it.
Yeah.
Or maybe you get part of the rewards.
Even if you had done that, if you hopped in at the start of the quest and do that all the time, I think this is a non-issue. It's like, all right, you were there from beginning to end for each quest, which you would have to do on your own. And you're playing with your fans, you're playing with your community. Cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a little bit of onus on the fans as well. I mean, not so much, like 0.2% onus on the fans of being like, hey, hop in, we're about to turn in a quest.
Yeah, it's like,
come join our server.
You guys asked for this, so it's not his fault.
So it's not entirely his fault, and it's not entirely the fans' fault.
Yeah.
And it's also a good portion of Rare's fault.
I mean, I think part of it is he also wanted to be the first one. And who doesn't? Like, if you're that close, I would probably do whatever I could. And it's Sea of Thieves, not Sea of Play by the Rules.
Yep.
There's nowhere in the rules that says you can't do that. Just because Rare made a poorly designed system of progression doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to take advantage of it.
He didn't cheat. He just
that being
bent
said,
the rules a little
I
bit.
don't love it. It seems kind of scummy.
I don't know. Based on this article, and I read a couple different articles, and like none of them really painted him in a negative light. And I don't know if this is. I've never watched his content. I don't know anything about him.
Correct.
And this doesn't seem like he was doing it with malicious intentions.
No.
But another streamer, who people are calling, because people were hashtagging "not my pirate legend,"
Because of course they are.
Because
People taking this way out
it's the internet.
Yeah.
But people celebrating hashtag my pirate legend is Sniper named G. Sniper played for 21 hours straight this past weekend to win the title, and viewers celebrated him for what they considered to be a more legitimate qualifying run.
21 hours in a row of fetch
Of
quests.
Sea of Thieves.
That just sounds awful.
That
And this
sounds
isn't even the
terrible.
first. Like, he would have been having to play because the game
Yeah, that
came out
wasn't
March
20th.
20th.
That wasn't 1 to 50. That
No.
was just from wherever he was to 50 on all three
probably
vendors.
45 to 50. Freaking
Article states
game.
Prodigy isn't bitter about Sniper's more positive reception from Sea of Thieves player base at large. For him, it's more about pleasing his own install community, who he said continue to appreciate him, which I think is fine. He says, "quote Sniper has more viewers than me and possibly a stronger audience, but with my community as well, they make me feel like I'm their pirate legend. In the beginning, it was strange that people talked that way. My whole plan was to be a legend and do something awesome with the community." End quote. It also states like later on, like he's hopping in now or like having his players come in and do the legendary quests with him.
Yeah.
Because you only have to have one person that's able to access those quests to be able to do them.
Right.
So he's bringing his players in and helping them do the same thing that they helped him do. So there's still some give and take there. In the comments he made, obviously you're not going to say something negative to a news site about another streamer, but
not a great idea.
Also all of his content is live online, and if he's going to be negative, the internet's going to find it and be like, "Oh no, he's talking bad about Sniper named G here, but he said he doesn't hold any bitterness," and nothing like that. I mean, maybe it has in the deep dark reaches of Reddit, but at the end of the day, like, who cares?
Yeah.
There wasn't a system put in place for this to stop him from doing it.
Yeah.
And that's Rare's fault.
Yeah. Should be a lesson learned. There should be a fix for it. I don't necessarily know what that is, but if you didn't vote on the voyage, don't get the points for it. Done. That seems easy. Like that feels like it would take a day's worth of work. Like, it should not be that hard.
Put it in that giant patch they're about to put out.
That's right. Rumors. Big old patch coming. Whatever. That's Sea of Thieves. That's about all I want to talk about that game for the foreseeable future.
We have now. We have seed our thieves out the door. Get out of here.
Get out of here.
I can't. Whatever.
All right, how about
Boss
some
fight,
lighter
second
news?
invite, Sea of Thieves, check it out.
What's some good?
All right,
Good
from
light news.
Eurogamer, something really cool.
This is
actually
really cool.
So, Nintendo Labo. If you don't know what this is the cool cardboard thing that Nintendo's coming out with.
Yeah.
You put your Joy-Cons in, your actual Switch, and you can build physical pieces of hardware to go along with your Switch.
Yeah.
But today's footage, today being like the 15th of March, there's not a lot of news going on now.
We've been busy.
A lot of Sea of Thieves news.
Easter's a
Fortnite
busy
Mobile.
time, and also games don't really come out around Easter.
So today's footage shows you how you can create your own Toy-Con and program them to use Labo Software's Garage Creator mode. Specifically this time, how you can do all of this using inputs from Joy-Con's infrared camera to detect other objects. So this is super cool.
It is cool.
So the right controller, I say the red one, not everybody's got the red controller.
Right.
The right controller has that little black bar on the bottom. That's an IR sensor. Ooh, look at that.
Right there.
That guy.
And a little black spot there.
That's an IR sensor. So essentially, what they built, they took the tank that you can buy, the RC car, and they put a little like pin on top to make it look like a tank. And then they had a little dude, and they put a little like white sticker.
They did an IR sensor, basically. A dot that the
It
IR
was a bright white dot.
IR thing can see.
And so they made a little dude out of it and strapped him to the back of one of the other Joy-Cons. And then to make it all work, the garage system is like a node-based if this then that editor,
Yeah.
like programmer.
Like real basic programming.
It's so cool. Like you take this node and be like, it's like a movement node. And if I hit, the left shoulder button on this, then it ties to the right Joy-Con or the left Joy-Con on the tank.
Right.
And if I hit the right shoulder button, it ties to the right Joy-Con.
Yeah.
And I want that action to vibrate them, which is how it shakes its way along on the table. And if you stop vibrating one, it turns it.
Right.
And so you can set it up to look for the thing, and as soon as it detects the IR sensor, you set up that node to connect to the blue controller, which shakes it and then knocks the little dude over.
Right. And then you can go in and they showed you can add sound effects. You can have it set up to where you push a button that triggers the other action stuff. So they had a whole system of nodes and, and things. It was a very
full on.
It was very
basic.
visual, basic programming. Really awesome. And this is just like one small use of it. It's really cool. You're doing all this with cardboard. Your starter setup, I think, for everything with Labo was like $70.
Yeah.
You could buy more cardboard. Obviously, you could buy replacements. You
I
could
mean, in theory, like you could do this with regular old cardboard.
Like you could make your own anything.
All you
really.
need is the Switch,
Yeah.
Joy-Cons in the Labo garage.
Yeah, like the software.
That in itself, like, well, I think when we talked about this, we're like, all right, if it only has these certain games on it and you can only do certain things with a certain cardboard,
right?
That's kind of limiting. Because you take your son, who would take this and probably like tear it up after a couple minutes of using it.
Yeah.
Because he's 2.
Yeah, exactly.
And he tears things up. That's what they do.
Right.
And so you take this and you can build something for him out of like cheap cardboard that's like, hey, hit these buttons and it does stuff. And he can do it and mess around with it. And the dogs can knock it over and it doesn't matter because it's not your $80 cardboard.
And it's one of those things where, I mean, we haven't got hands on Labo yet. We're still waiting for that. That's coming soon. And I am excited to check it out because I think the cardboard's probably gonna be a little different than what you have moving boxes and stuff made out of. But it's all these really cool things, and we're just scratching the surface. This series of videos they're putting out is showing some of the possibilities that you can have in Labo, and it's a creative thing more than anything. Like it's not really like my kind of creative. Like I don't always process those kind of things to come out creatively on the other side, but some people do. And so like just imagine what you could do with these tools and with this programming and stuff. And now you're teaching kids that are maybe 5 or 6 years old that don't understand a lot of other things can be like, okay, I draw this line to this line and this thing does that thing, or this causes that only if this is happening. It's like, that's a pretty basic concept, and you just show them how to execute it and then they can run with it. And the imagination of a kid is way above anything else that adults are doing. It's a real base understanding of like a lot of functions in life. So that's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, it teaches like workflow. It's like, it's a flow chart. So because node-based editing, it's a flow chart. And so it's like these things happen to make these things happen, to make these things happen. But it's like it's like Minecraft style of creativity, probably more specifically like the Redstone style of creativity in real life. Because you're like, I wonder if I can take it and make it do this just by hitting a button. So you're like, I want it to, and this is where I'm going to fall short too. Like, I can't just like see those things in my head of like, oh, I see a blank canvas and I make things happen. I say this all the time. I don't draw, I color. Like, give me a construct and I'll fill it in.
Yeah.
But I see people just like, how can I make my little dude run over and like hit the switch on the floor to turn on the lights by hitting this button? It's just like, that's a fun little machine.
There's possibilities. I mean, it's just like with Google Home and all the things you can do with that, or Alexa or anything like that. It's like, I can set it up if I have the right systems that when I walk in the door to turn on my lights and turn on the TV and set it to this volume and start playing this movie or this show or whatever. And I can do all that like with my voice or just with my location. It's like that kind of stuff is possible with Labo. Now, what does that look like? I don't really know, but it's an easy to get into system that you don't have to spend a lot of money on, and it gives people this creative outlet. So I think it's awesome. I think it's the same thing we said when we first saw Labo, is that we needed more than just some gimmicky games with it. And I think this is just one thing out of the many different things that they've already talked about. There's more to talk about. There's more things to go over. So I think it's cool. I mean, E3's coming up in June. I think we're going to see a lot of Labo stuff that we aren't really prepared for. And it's going to blow some people away for sure.
I just had a thought, like, it'd be, on a certain level, it could be like really educational for young kids, because they did a thing like where they put like a cardboard over and the screen will flash white, like with the robot thing, and it says hit, but it's just like cardboard that you carved out to say hit, and it flashes white underneath it. But I just saw this last paragraph, so you could, for example, program in a shake of the Switch's Joy-Con and add the process of counting to a certain number and then have to react, making an explosion or noise or whatever. But like, you could set the screen to react once it's hit like 4 button pushes, like teaching your kid to count. Like button, bing, like, whoa, hey, thing. And it like vibrates in his hand and like lights up the screen.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just got, if it works like we're all thinking it's gonna, like, it's got kind of unlimited potential, which is pretty cool.
I think
it's kind of got that dreams feel to it, where it's like, you could unlock some jobs if somebody does it right.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, 10 years down the road, you've been programming for 12 years or something. Then all of a sudden it's like, well, I'm all of a sudden set up much better than a kid coming out of high school.
They're going to start building programming software around the style of Nintendo Labo Garage.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about.
On a certain level. Not quite that basic.
yeah, right.
C++, nodes.
100%.
That's exactly how it works.
That's how it works. I don't know
how it works.
You broke the code.
That's how the show ends today, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. Remember to follow us on Twitter at IR Games. Remember, as we've mentioned several times this show, we do another show over on Second Invite. We'll put a link in the description below. It's a little bit shorter form. It's a little bit more focused. And if that sounds like the kind of thing you're into, head over there, check it out. But thanks for hanging out this week, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.